How you doing, everyone? My name is Ryan and this is Ade, and here we go with another edition of Box Talk. Today, it's November Madness continues, the November knockout session. Andre Ward versus Edwin Rodriguez. What type of fight is this? Rodriguez coming up, took out a lot of the young cats. Andre Ward, a pound for pound entrant. What can I really say? Ade?
It's a good fight. It's one of them fights that when it was mentioned, like most people, I was like, what? This is Andre Ward. This is number 2 pound for pound guy. He's been out of action for a long time. Hasn't fought, contract problems, public problems, back problems. Every single problem that Mr. Son of God has had, he seems to have had. So I thought it was going to come out with a big name. Problem is, for him, he seems as though his ego allows him not to get the big name fights. He wants the biggest paycheck, he wants this, he wants that. And I think the pound for pound ranking has made him a bit delusional as to thinking what his worth is.
Yeah.
And I think he still has to prove his worth. A lot of people think he's a boring boxer. I think he's a very good boxer.
Very talented.
So I'm not going to have that he's a boring boxer. It's just because he's better than everyone else, which he definitely is. But let's not make no bones about it. Edwin Rodriguez is an unbeaten fighter. And to me, it's like the kind of Carl Froch and George Groves scenario. Anytime you chuck an unbeaten fighter in against someone, he's never lost before, he's not used to it, you never know what could happen. So with this fight, as much as I expect Andre Ward to win, because he's a better boxer, he's been inactive for a long time, and you never know what could happen.
Yeah, so it's an interesting fight for me in a sense where Rodriguez, again, good fighter for a lot of young guys coming up. Done well for what he's done. I've seen a few of his fights while he was progressing when he was much younger. I haven't seen much of his fights recently, but I've been keeping track of him through various publications, whatever. He's the type of guys that could want to put the spanner in the works and cause a problem. You're looking at Andre Ward coming up right now in the sense where the shoulder surgery, rehab, fights falling apart, like Andy mentioned. It's not a good situation for him. And Andre Ward really...
Contract problems.
Yeah, contract problems. Andre Ward really didn't want this fight. He was bargaining HBO to get an easy payday, an easy fight, and he had a whole dispute with them where he didn't think they were doing him any favours, putting him in a tough fight. Now, I'm not saying Andre Ward is scared, but he's cautious of how his body is and how he's feeling right now, all the layoff and injury. So if you don't really want to fight and you're forced to have the fight, that makes it a fight.
See, the thing for Andre Ward, and it's weird because this fight is so similar to Carl Froch, George Groves, and it's like you're a young unbeaten fighter, and he feels like, why am I fighting this guy? But it's very, very similar. But the thing with Andre Ward, going back to it, is that he's in a situation whereby the number 2 in the division doesn't need to fight him.
Yeah.
Carl Froch, yes, can, if he wants, he can kind of try and get that, get that victory over his belt against Andre Ward, which would be a very, very tough fight, whether it be here or not. Doesn't really need to fight him. He's getting good paydays over here with Sky TV and Eddie Hearn. They're talking about his next 2 or 3 fights are kind of lined up already. Andre Ward is almost in a situation where no one really wants to fight him. He doesn't bring much to the table in terms of money. He doesn't bring much to the table in terms of a big sellout crowd. They all saw what he done to Chad Dawson.
Yeah.
Who wants Andre Ward right now? I know I don't.
Andre Ward is as talented as he is and as good as he is, he's actually too good for his own good. In a sense, whereas he's the number 1 at super middleweight right now.
Yes, he is.
He cannot make 160, and he already beat the top guy at 168, at 178 in Chad Dawson at the time.
175.
At 175 at the time. So in a sense, he's trying to say that he was the best in both divisions. But the divisions have changed, and as much as you could see him fighting at Stevenson, you could see him fighting at Kovalev or one of the other guys out there. He's talked a lot saying, well, these guys need to fight more, need to develop themselves. They're just coming up, I've been here and I've been that. Whereas
Rubbish.
Not really helping himself in a fan perspective or in a fight perspective. I mean, people are going in and offering poor money or lower money because they could say, look, Andre Ward avoided the fight, but he said this guy's not worth it because he talked a little too much. Andre was a humble guy on TV previously, and that ego's gone a little too high. And I think that's going to hurt him more in the long run of getting bigger marquee fights.
It will hurt him, and what will also hurt him, unfortunately, for Andre Ward is that he's not a big draw yet. I mean, you've got to look at Andre Ward was the number 1 super middleweight in the world, and he still is, in my eyes, even though I love Carl Froch. Andre Ward is, after what he done to Carl Froch, is the number 1. At the time, he fought Dawson, who was, by most people reckon, the number 1 light heavyweight in the world. That fight, you listen to the crowd reports, it done like 3,500 people in the crowd. The number 1 super middleweight versus the number 1 light heavyweight done 3,500 people, which is poor by anyone's standards. And I just feel like he's not a big draw. I think, and we'll go back to Rodriguez, we're not discounting him at all, but I think if Andre Ward does win this fight, for me, there's only one way out, and that one way is to 175, where a lot of good fighters are now circling. I mean, if you're talking about the Bute fight, Bute's fighting Pascal, I'd like to see the winner of those maybe fight Andre Ward. That'd be a good fight for me. There's loads of fights up there at 175 right now, and I think he needs to go that way.
That's the type of fight I think he's going to come back with. You know, like a marquee name, a marquee fight. You know, something you look at the and go, guess what? Oh my gosh, Andre Ward is laying it down. That's what I wanted to hear. Yes. And obviously I'm not going to get that. But listen, let's go back to Rodriguez. What do you think he's going to do in this fight? What do you think his strategy is going to be to offset the pound for pound number 2 in the world?
It's hard. It's almost like you can't stand off Andre Ward because Andre Ward is such a good boxer. But at the same time, Andre Ward's a very good counter-puncher as well. Carl Froch will tell you that. So it's almost like you've got to try and do what Beaker did. I think Beaker's probably put on the best performance. Although Froch's scorecards will show that Froch was a lot closer, you watched the Beaker performance, Beaker was very good. He went to the body a lot, attacked him on the ropes. Not many people can do that because Beaker's got the chin of like a granite chin.
And strength.
And the strength as well. So I think you've got to rough him up a bit. And I think if you try and watch the Beaker performance, that's the way to do it. I don't know if Rodriguez is capable of doing that.
That's a good point. The Beaker performance, even though Beaker's not the type of name compared to the people Carl just fought, Andre Ward has fought, Beaker has that style and that grittiness. And you even saw Andre Ward after fight, he was rough, he was dirty, I did what I had to do. He actually made Andre Ward fight in a dirty fight, which he didn't really want. Ward has to fight in a dirty fight when he's doing the elbows and the headbutting and the rubbing when it's on his terms. When it's on the other side, he didn't like it too much. I think to beat Ward in this current era, the way the fighters are right now, you need to make it really dirty and make him not doubt himself, but make it a physical wear and tear on the body. You can't just stay there and try to outbox, maneuver, and do certain things. It's not going to really work with him.
If Edwin Rodriguez has got a chance to win, and this is probably his best chance, we're talking about Andre Ward that's been out for over a year now. We're talking about Andre Ward that's come back from shoulder surgery. We're talking about Andre Ward that in his mindset didn't really want this fight. Not trying to say he was avoiding it, but didn't want this isn't the fight he asked for. He asked for an easy tune-up fight for big fights of the summer. This is the time. If you're going to get the time to beat what most people consider the pound for pound number 2, this is the time to do it. I just don't know if a guy like Edwin Rodriguez can step up and do it.
I reckon the way he needs to do it is by a high pace and a busy jab. You know, you can build fitness over time. You can't build endurance and stamina. It takes a long time. And being out for such a period of time with the shoulder injury, he must have to do a lot of very hard running for at least 6-7 months. So he's only had a short time to get physically fit. If he keeps moving, circling, using the jab, high rate, try to tire Ward out to do something in the later rounds. Will be more effective most probably in the earlier rounds while he's fresh, and once you taper out towards the end, and you only get this opportunity once.
And a lot of people said it. I mean, even Carl Froch said it, and a lot of people, other people whisper that Ward does seem to get tired for some reason. Coming 10, 11, 12. Ward's a big guy. I don't know if people realise. Ward is a very big guy, which is why all the rumours about him going to 175 are there, because he is quite a big guy. So for a fighter that's not had a fight in a year, he's a gym rat, but for a fighter that's not had a fight in a year, it's not easy coming down to make 168 again. So again, this is why I think Edwin Rodriguez has a slim chance, and that's all it is for me. He genuinely is fighting what I consider, yes, he's been inactive, but you watch the performances, this is generally pound for pound number 2 material. He can really box. And Ryan said it earlier in the program, he is probably too good for his own good. He is that good that not many people want to fight him. And as much as I love Carl Froch has been beaten by him, and Carl Froch ain't really called him out to try to get that revenge either yet. There's a reason they're not doing it, because Andre Ward is a very, very good fighter.
I agree.
But Ryan, okay, what do you think? How does it go?
I'm in 2 minds with this. If Andre Ward is not at his peak, if his physical ability is down through finish, through injury, through rehabbing, Rodriguez can make it a harder fight, and I think Ward can struggle. If Ward is who Ward is, I think it's an easy points decision. I mean, he'll literally pick him apart or bully him or beat him up. But that's only if he's physically fit. If he's not physically fit and he can't implement his style, because Ward's style is busy, aggressive, hard charging. If he's not physically fit, I'll see a difficult fight. But the prediction is Ward on points.
Okay, so if Ward wins, what do we do for 2014 for Ward? Do we get a Froch rematch? Does it go up to 175?
If Ward wins, personally, I'd see him fight Stevenson. As it stands right now, if Stevenson wins against Tony Bellew, what you will have again is another time, which will help Ward's legacy. Twice beating the lineal light heavyweight champion, 2 divisions, ring titles, heavyweight titles, light heavyweight titles, superweight titles all together. Bam.
Oh, you're talking about him going up to 175 to fight Stevenson? Yeah, interesting. Okay, guys, what I think, again, I'm going to go with Ryan here again. I think Andre Ward, the Andre Ward I saw in his last performances, is a phenomenally good boxer. No joke, this guy can box. And I think he's just going to be too good for Rodriguez. But I think Rodriguez comes again. If Rodriguez loses, I think he does come again. I think Rodriguez will make it competitive in the first 4 or 5 rounds. But then after that, I think Ward just takes over and goes to an easy points decision. But I think Ward wins. And I don't know, I can see if Froch wins, who's fighting a couple of weeks after, and Ward wins, you never know. Massive spring summer blockbuster in Wembley. Who knows? I don't think it will happen, but I'd like to see that happen rather than Froch go against another Kessler for a 3rd time, or maybe go up to 175 and fight. So I'd like to see him versus Ward. Who knows?
I don't think Ward will come to the UK. I think the ego's gone too far.
I'm waiting. Well, this ego might be dropped back down to earth in a couple of weeks. But we'll see. But guys, leave in the comments below. What do you think? Does Ward win easily? If he does win, 2014 does go up to the big boy league and fight some of the light heavyweights. There's money to be made there. We've got Kovalev, we've got Stevenson, we've got Booten, we've got Cloud, we've got Pascal, and we've got Hopkins. But guys, email us at
BoxTalk@hotmail.co.uk.
And guys, thanks for tuning in for another edition of Box Talk.